This week in Jamaica Now. Can you help to find these boys? Fiery protest in Clarendon after 3 people were killed in a traffic crash during a police chase.
Jamaica want justice! Where do you want to listen now?
Gunman chopped to death in Hanover. Controversy revs up as Uber begins operating in Jamaica. St Ann woman mauled by dogs. Vaccination delay while the government is putting on hold the second dose for people under 50. Several Jamaican men and women arrested in Florida after landing aboard a boat coming from the Bahamas. And highway heartbreak, a church in limbo as demolition looms. I'm Damian Mitchell and this is Jamaica Now. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency is appealing to members of the public for help to locate 2 boys seen in a viral video smoking what appears to be marijuana. In the 28-second video, which has been shared on several social media blogs, the children on a parked bike were seen using a lighter to ignite their spliffs. The video was seemingly recorded by an older person. Anyone with information is being asked to call 876-822-7031. For 2 days, several residents of southern Clarendon communities staged fiery protests in relation to a traffic crash that left 3 people dead. The deceased were traveling in a Nissan AD wagon during curfew hours on Saturday night when they were signaled to stop. The police say they ignored the order and sped away. According to the police, they gave chase but were outrun by the car. The police say they later found the car crashed in the community of Hayes. The police say as they approached the scene, several gunshots were fired and they returned the gunfire.
So we have asked the citizens just to allow the investigation to do its course and to maintain the peace.
But residents have disputed the police account of the story.
When not dead, so they see one private car attack them, so they don't stop. So them are driving it to we're clear. So it look like they calling the police station and then block the road on them and then appear a gunshot on the car. Appear a little picnic in the car. Only big somebody that car one that you 20 years when they were trying the police but in the police youth come and my biggest one in night. Appear a little picnic gav if you take picnic them. In 9 of them. Here at the school picnic. One and all in the school picnic. And in the police youth club over here so.
Nine bad men
do all sitting there for going in the force. For going in the army. And you kill off the whole I pick them and then you plug up on them. And so then you see them, you see them with the gun, the little pity them when me and they sit down one place.
The Independent Commission of Investigations and the Police Inspectorate are probing the incident. A gunman who reportedly chased and fired several shots at a tour bus operator in Blenheim, Hanover, has been chopped to death by angry residents. The gunman has been identified as Adrian Sweeney alias Killy Killy. The police say he lived between Flankers St James and Russia in Savlamar, Westmoreland. He and his cronies went to Blenheim to kill a tour bus operator. The frightened tour bus operator ran and was chased by the 2 gunmen who continued firing at him. Despite being hit, the bus operator managed to elude his attackers. Sweeney's crony and the driver escaped the wrath of the mob by fleeing in the car in which they had traveled to the deep rural community. However, Sweeney, now out of bullets, was left behind. The mob then descended on him and chopped him to death. Jamaica's main insurance umbrella group has warned vehicle owners and operators enlisting with ride-sharing service Uber that they could compromise their coverage if they fail to disclose the arrangement to their insurers. Uber started operating in Jamaica this week, triggering commendation and condemnation.
So you think if Uber comes into the Jamaican market fully that it will take away profits from red plate taxi drivers?
Of course, because we are waiting too long. All of them, we own them. And the driver them, we have a PL searching for them. So when time Uber come, we have a PL.
In the meantime, the Insurance Association of Jamaica says the government should shield the interest of the licensed taxicabs from collapsing amid the prospect of competitive disadvantage. The insurance lobby said while it welcomed any development that would improve transportation services, it maintained that all operators in the sector should comply with the law and offer the requisite protection for drivers, passengers, and other commuters. The owner of 2 dogs that severely mauled a 61-year-old woman in Eltham St Ann has been charged with criminal negligence. Carlington Reid is to appear in the St Ann's Bay Parish Court on July 6 to answer the charges. If convicted, he could face up to $3 million in fine. The victim, Bavette Watson Balford, showed extraordinary strength to fight off the dogs before help eventually came.
And she was bitten all over, in her head, above her eyebrows, on her legs, thighs, arms. I I felt so horrible because but I gave God thanks because she is alive, and I'm grateful that God gave her the strength to hold on to those two pit bulls.
You feel how we are, my general, whole family, mother, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, people from all about. Church, brother, sister, neighbor, everybody, community member, everybody. Feel shook up boy thing. You see me I say?
Yeah.
The whole Watson family feel shook up boy thing. Me I tell them, my general.
Watson Balfour was rushed to the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital for emergency medical care before being discharged on Monday. Her co-worker, Nigel Heslop, was also injured after he and others tried to assist the woman. The animals have since been taken by personnel from the Jamaica Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. The Health Ministry has announced a delay in the administration of the second dose of the COVID vaccine for people under 50 years old as supplies run low. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said the priority is being given to the vulnerable. The second dose of the COVID vaccine becomes due 8 to 12 weeks after the first dose. Those affected by the delay in the schedule for their second inoculation are now in their 8th to 10th week since their first dose. The Health Minister has sought to assure that efforts are being pursued to secure additional vaccines to administer the second doses around the 12th week.
We have been gradually inoculating our population. A lot of what we do is a function of the availability of the vaccines. And once we have it, then we take it and make it available. Then there is the issue of access to the population. And we have been working on a plan to improve the plan so that all Jamaicans who qualify will have access.
United States authorities have detained 14 migrants, some of whom are Jamaicans, who were traveling in a boat that came ashore hitting a seawall in Pompano Beach, Florida on Thursday. The migrants were coming from Jamaica and had first traveled to the Bahamas. One of the migrant men told a TV station as he was being handcuffed in Pompano Beach that he was fleeing from violence in Jamaica.
Fear killing going on over there. Really want to live, want a better life. No life is in Jamaica right now.
And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, subscribe today and turn on your notifications. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, highway heartbreak, church in limbo as demolition looms for South Coast road build-out.
This church is here for a couple of decades, and people are so much emotionally connected to this church. And the news that this church is going to knock down for widening the road, people are very much disturbed, and it affects them emotionally a lot, because there is an emotional connection to this church, and people at the moment, they are really praying what is going to happen to all of them in the days to come.